Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be showing off the new Live Twins archetype, as they did get a few newer support cards and specifically getting their super boss monster. Now, just as a heads up, you will see some cards from one of the other players like Block Dragon and O Lion, which are technically, yeah, they are on the ban list for the TCG. The other guy's playing an OCG list, so he's going to be making like an okay-ish board turn 1, but it's really here to highlight the new boss monster of the Evil Twin archetype, the Trouble Sunny. And it really makes the Evil Twins as like a pure archetype a lot better, as pretty much what you're able to do with the deck is trying to set up this card turn 1 and then dodging and being able to pop and then draw a card. So it's kind of like a 3-card advantage. Technically there's not really any like negates. You do have one disruption of popping a card, but for the most part, this is going to be like the bread and butter of your go-to plays, is pretty much trying to get out Trouble Sunny and recycling it again and again. So a lot of times you'll see Lila come out and you're going to use Lila, bring out another card. You can go into Kiss to Kill and then bring back the other monster. This will let you pop a card, and one of them will let you draw a card. And then once you go into Trouble Sunny, this monster has a quick effect to tribute summon. It's tribute it to special summon a Kiss to Kill and a Lila monster from the graveyard. So you're going to bring back both the monsters, one letting you pop, one letting you draw, and then you just try to make this card again and again. That's basically the core concept of this deck, at least right now with its current play style. So you can go pop one and draw one card, which is definitely a good little like engine. But at the end of the day, if you want to play a deck that can generate a lot more of an advantage, you're probably looking more at like a Sky Striker, like sorta-ish playstyle in terms of like getting advantage, because you don't simply have enough negates with the own archetypes like just built in. They definitely need a little bit more support, but there's another card that I'll talk about in a moment over here that will technically let you maybe deal with like an opponent's pop-off play, because you don't have enough disruptions, I would say, on average to be able to stop your opponent from playing Yu-Gi-Oh, which is kind of the primary goal of majority of decks if people want to consider them meta or not. But obviously, since you can draw into the card, it can help out, but the problem is that you need to actually play a lot of hand traps, because the card that you draw into when it's your opponent's turn, you can't activate it from like your hand. I think that if the own archetype gets like a hand trap, I think that the deck could be a lot better, just because that way you can be more reactive on it. There's going to be a lot of hand traps in this deck, obviously, since you're going to be able to draw a lot with the pretty much every single turn you're able to draw a card, pop a card, and that's on your turn and your opponent's, and then this card basically dodges anything that would get rid of it. You probably should have used Chalice earlier, Kappa. But nonetheless, even though it's taken an L, we're going to see another cool card that lets you potentially go first and pop off a little bit more depending on what your opponent is playing. So this is another newer card that got added to the archetype called the Live Twin Trouble Sun. So when this card is activated, you get to search out a monster, so it's really easy, right? In terms of what it does, you're definitely going to be playing multiple copies of this. But while you control an Evil Twin monster, each time your opponent's normals or special summons a monster, you gain 200 life points, and then you get to burn your opponent for 200 points of damage. I was thinking Darkroom and Nightmare or something else where your opponent would take damage on top of like a stack. This could actually be kind of cool. We've already seen people try it with the Masquerade Dragon to try to burn your opponent before they really get to do anything, like chain energy, you know, those kinds of things. But realistically, is it good, especially when you're going second? Absolutely not. I mean, at this point, maybe we could start main decking that Ancient Leaf. But again, a lot of times with these like burn cards, trick cards, they get outclassed, outsped out, and that deck has really been pretty much phased out. But again, the whole goal is go Lila and the Kiss to Kill, and then you just go make the boss monster again and again, and that's basically what you do in the archetype. Now, unfortunately over here, well, this card is not a tuner, so he's going to be stuck over there. He's going to just have to say GG to that. But now that you guys have seen some gameplay, I've shown you guys it win, I've shown you guys it lose. Like I said before, this is an OCG deck, because, well, both the players were playing OCG decks. If we go to the TCG, well, you can't run some of these cards, right? A triple Block Dragon, that's insane, right? But nonetheless, our highlight is basically this. These two cards are what are going to make the deck a lot better than it previously was. There's nothing new to really mention other than those that just play more hand traps. So originally the guy was playing 2 copies of Called and then 2 copies of Max C, but the thing that this deck doesn't deal well with is like those insane turn 1 boards, break my boards. So cards like Nibiru can really help them out, and obviously, again, if you're playing in the TCG, this is a real easy swap. The reason why I like this swap is because again, one doesn't deal with turn 1 boards. You can also play more Veilers or more Ghost Ogres. You need to have more hand traps because, again, the deck on its own does not facilitate enough negations. You have to like go into other cards, which again, keep in mind, you're going to be able to draw 1 and pop 1 every single turn, and this card, if they try to get rid of it, you just use its quick effect, tribute itself. Unfortunately, it would lose out to Kaiju's pretty hard, as you basically invest everything to making this one card, but in terms of the other cards, it's not like you have to control something to use like this card, but again, the problem is it's only 200. If it was maybe 500, we would be actually looking at a pretty nice little buff. But anyways, onwards with the deck profile. So we got 3 copies of Ash Blossom, 2 copies of Ogre, and then 1 copy of Ghost Belly. This card has actually gotten a lot more popular. I'd also even recommend keeping in mind DD Crow. That can absolutely obliterate the Salmon Great matchup sometimes, or even against Sky Strikers, just the right time you hit that engage, and it's a rough time sometimes for them. And then anyways, next up we have 3 copies of all of the good ones. So 3 copies of Live Twin Kiss Kill, 3 copies of the Live Twin Kiss Kill Frost, and then 3 copies of Lilla, and then 1 copy of Lilla Treat. A lot of these are just like special summon, and you just easily go for it. It's like if you want to think of it kind of like a tour guide of the archetype, because this one lets you summon it from your hand or deck. It's kind of just, you just make the Kiss Kills. That's just all you do with the archetype for the most part, and that's what they facilitate. And then we have 2 copies of Droll, 2 copies of Veiler. So it's heavy on the hand traps. Then we got the Duster. We have the Signet Mining for the archetype, as this is a Cyberse monster, and you really need to get that engine going. And then we have Secret Passphrase. So this lets you add a specific spell or trap, which basically comes down to adding any of the monster. But then there is another effect where if you control a Kiss Kill monster and you control a Lilla monster, you get to add 1 Evil Twin monster from your deck to your hand instead. This is where I'm thinking that the archetype could get a hand trap specifically for them, and then we're looking at the deck being a lot better, and that's what they really need to actually pop off. And then we have the Live Twin Entrance. This is a quick play. Lets you discard 100 special summon a Kiss Kill or a Lilla monster from your deck, and then for the rest of the turn after this card resolves, you can't special monsters except for like their own archetypes ones. It's okay, can prevent you from getting OTK'd, but for the most part, again, they just need better support, but they're getting more support, so that's good. Then we have Call, Droplet, and then 2 copies of the Chalice. You don't get too much of a benefit from like discarding like, you know, your cards, so this card can be still very powerful, but like it's not like a zombie deck or a deck like for example Salmon Grades can heavily benefit off of things in the grave as well. But then we have Troublesome. We already went over this. Is one of the newer cards, and then 3 copies of Imperm, and then again the original guy was playing the 2 copies of C as well as Called. Adamanta over here, Adamanta Maru, I believe was their name. Big shout outs to them. Whoops, if we go to the replays, yeah. Adamaru was their name, so big shout outs to their build over here. But yeah, this is the difference that I would recommend, because again, if you have to deal with so many negates, the own archetype doesn't protect itself. But next up though, we have the Underworld Goddess. This is a card, this and the Access Code Talker, which you guys get to saw in the gameplay. Cold Talker. This card over here, fantastic card as well, just to completely board wipe. I would recommend also considering this card, as well as you will be making tons of these, and if they like, you know, send them to the grave or whatever. But multiple copies of the Trouble Study. This is a fantastic card. Abomination, Unicorn, like the standard like lineup, and then 3 copies of Kiss Kill and 3 copies of Lil. This is standard to every single build for the archetype. But that's gonna wrap things up. Let me know, guys, what you think of the new Kiss Kill, Trouble Sunny, and the Trouble Sun. For me, I think this card is definitely cool, and it has its own playstyle. Now, before you would always just make these, and it was just like a generic, like, you know, Link deck with cute, you know, they're supposed to be like an e-girl archetype is what they're supposed to be. And now we actually have like their own boss monster, which is cool. But again, I think the archetype needs like 3 or 4 more cards, and I think the deck could be really good. Like 3 or 4 more good cards. One being a hand trap, and maybe like another like monster to deal with already established boards could be kind of cool to you know, have for the archetype. But anyways, thanks for tuning, guys. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. If you're new and do want to see more new Yu-Gi-Oh archetypes as well as new Yu-Gi-Oh cards gameplay like the ones you just saw, hit subscribe, turn the bell, and you'll definitely see more. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one. I'm out. Peace.